Who's ready for some front suspension on the 67 Barracuda? Well, today's your lucky day. We finally got some parts. That's where the music kicks in.
I like that.
It's been a long time coming, but we finally got these parts designed and bent up and ready to test fit and install. Okay, so we've got a notch that's going to get welded in. So originally, round one, we came up with a curved notch, and we've been doing a lot of back and forth iterations, testing, figuring out what works, what doesn't, how to make this better for the end consumer to install, how to make it easier to fabricate, manufacture, I should say. And so instead of a curved tube, we came up with a bent 10 gauge notch, which is going to be much better for manufacturing and for installation. It'll do the job. So this is going to get cut in there, which means we have to clearance the stock frame rail a little bit more. We're going to weld that in, and that will accept this 1/4 inch thick spring perch that will bolt in. Now, when it bolts in, the bolts are going to be 3/8/16 bolts that go all the way through this, and into the 1/2 inch thick main subframe structure. So basically you'll be able to, from the bottom, lift up the K-member or subframe, and then you put, this will already be in there, and then you put this in, you bolt it in, tighten it all together, it ain't going nowhere. So these will come fully welded. They'll be part of the kit. They will not have an oval in them when you get them. This is just phase one. This is our first iteration. That's so that we can get the spring in just the optimal location without having to carve it out all the time. So we're going to show you how to put these in, install this, and then we'll weld these up probably later. But first, we got to take out the mocked up suspension, and this is just kind of sitting there right now. We do have the steering hooked up. We've had the sway bar kind of mocked up here a little bit. So we're still working on finalizing the location for that and how that's going to work. But for now, we're just going to get that out of the way. We got to take the spindle off. We got to take the spring out, and then we'll start fitting this notch. Let's do it. First, we got to remove the rack. It's just loosely sitting there. Always put the nut back on the thread so you don't lose it. The spindle should just be hand tight also for now. And for those of you that haven't been following all the other videos, you should go watch the other videos. Like and subscribe this video. And by the way, thanks for following. But what I was going to say is, for those of you that haven't been following along, this is all Mustang 2 style suspension. So the spindles will accept modern brakes like bare brakes, or that's what we're going to be using on this one, is bare brakes. You can get readily available replaceable ball joints. The bearings are readily available. It just allows you to put a wide variety of wheels on here. You know, you're not stuck with just one wheel size. So the Barracudas had a weird bolt pattern. I forget what it was. I think it was like 4 1/4 bolt circle, which is unheard of these days. We definitely want to eliminate that. And it had left-hand threads on one side, which is a crazy dumb Mopar thing. So anyways, we got rid of that and we put Ford parts on it. Now we got to take that loose, let that down. We don't want to scratch the spring. Take the spindle off. This is the bare brake hub. So that does not come with the spindles.
Is that a hint at what brakes you're going to be running?
Yeah, bare brakes. Yeah, I'm going to be running bare brakes on this. I've already got those. Now we got to lift the upper control arm, and we got to take this bolt out. Okay, I'm going to lower that down a little bit, raise this up, and then the spring comes out. These are Ride Tech coilover springs. They're very nice. They're a great bang for your buck option. If if you guys want to upgrade to an adjustable coil spring. The adjustment knob is here on top on this one. So for this kit, we're going to run the shock or the strut style upper mount instead of a cross bolt. We just had the cardboard in there to protect the spring. We don't need that. Now we just need to temporarily wire this up out of the way. Now you can see we've already got the notch for the round version. We're not using the round version anymore. Let me show the before and after. All right, so this is the one that we hand fabricated out of a piece of tubing. We had to flatten it out a little bit to get the proper curvature. It was just way too much work. But basically the idea is we need to create a notch that welds in and caps that off and strengthens that area. But we've decided that a notch fabricated this way is going to work out much better. So now we got to just clearance the frame a little bit more and go straight back with it. And we might need to lower this a little bit. Just a little bit. Yeah, because the goal is we want to end up being able to drill and tap into this. So I need to make sure that I hit that mark. All right, so basically we got to be in line with this upper circle like so. I'm just kind of visualizing a mark that's straight up and down right there. It's slanted back slightly. Basically it's perpendicular with the bottom of this frame right here. Perpendicular right here. All right, now I'm gonna hold this up there at that same angle and I'm gonna drop it down pretty much right there. All right, now I need to kind of trace back here approximately where that edge is gonna end up. I'm gonna rough cut it first. Don't cut too much all at one time. You know, and we'll probably develop a pattern for this that comes with the kit, so you guys can get it right the first time. Shouldn't be too bad. You can kind of see where that notch is. So inside of the frame has this little bump in there. You want to cut that out of the way. And then you see right here, we're basically cutting up really close to that nut for the K-member. Do not cut through the nut though. All right, now we can test fit our part. Still got a little bit more to go. And now we got to start making sure that it's at the correct angle. So we don't want it to go just any old where. We got to make sure it's perpendicular with the bottom. So I got to kind of correct this a little bit, which means I got to grind a little bit more here and not there or here. Now we'll get the air grinder involved and creep up on it. And now, so basically when you're fitting stuff like this, that first time we did a lot of cutting and a little bit of fitting. The next time we're gonna do a little bit of grinding, a little bit of fitting, a little bit more grinding, a little bit more fitting. And then we're gonna go just a little bit of grinding and a lot more fitting. Little bit, 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 until it fits perfect. So the closer you get to your end goal, the more you got to check it. Less grinding, more checking. Okay, let's go. Okay, you want to grind that original bump until it's all the way flat against the original inner frame rail. We got more grinding to do right up there. Now that's looking pretty good over there. Now I just gotta trim a little bit off from that bottom edge still down here. It's getting better, but I still got to go back quite a ways, so that means I got to cut quite a bit more. Okay, that's looking better. So basically, we're just leaving this inner frame rail wall attached, mainly to keep the front and the back of the car connected. And I mean, the inner fender up here is keeping it connected too, But that's basically, the only reason we're leaving that is to not lose our reference. All right, we've got a good reference point here. Basically, when cutting this notch, you're gonna want this slanted side over here to go all the way to that washer with the factory bolt installed. So we got a little bit more to go. Honestly, this is going to be the hardest part about this whole install, but just wait till the end. You're going to see it's going to be totally worth it. I think that's as tight as we can get it for right now. And there's a little bit of a gap between there, but that's because of this one layer of sheet metal that's still there. And so probably what we'll do is just make a shim that goes down in there that tightens up with everything. But right now, what I want to do is I'm going to drop this down. I don't know. I guess I don't really need to drop it down. Let's see if I make it like that. Yeah, I'm going to drop it down just a little bit. Trim this, I'll mark this back edge where it needs to be trimmed. I'll mark that edge. And then I think I'll do a couple of plug weld holes in here. Like I should have just made 6 holes. And then these will end up getting drilled and tapped, drilled and tapped. Yeah, that's enough room for the threads. Right there, that's gonna be perfect. All right, now we gotta start prepping for welding. What do we got here? New dimple dies.
You gotta take them into the light.
We can show those later. That's gonna be perfect right there. Let me get a clamp and clamp that in place. All right, so what we're gonna do, I got it tacked in there. We're gonna unclamp it. We're gonna drill and tap those holes, and we're gonna bolt up the inner bracket, knock up the shock, go through all the steps to make sure it's gonna work before we final weld everything. Make sense? Makes sense. We're ready to drill and tap. So now I'm gonna go grab some transfer punches so we can get the center of that hole perfect. Transfer punch. Once again, this will all be figured out on the kit. This is just R&D on the first one. Now, where'd all my drill bits go? All right, here we go. That was not too bad at all. All right, now, in this kind of situation, you just gotta step it up slowly. So this is a 3/16 bit. This should go quicker. All right, now we're gonna step it up to 5/16, which should be the final size. Almost wanna do one more, but all right, hopefully this thing is sharp. It doesn't look very sharp. Now we're gonna tap it, but I don't know how this is gonna go. I gotta get some tap fluid. Dang it, I meant to get that when I was over there. I'm gonna have to get a drill with a stronger chuck on it. It's spinning too much. All right, so I got this tap started with the drill to get it square. And now I'm gonna run it in by hand. I got cutting fluid on there. I'm kind of supporting the tap just to make sure it goes in true. Every once in a while, I gotta break the chips loose. It's starting to feel pretty tight. You don't want to force it because it could break the tap. Like right there, that feels not good. I'm gonna take it all the way back out. Get the chips out of there. Now I could probably tap it after the fact, like he said. You won't have to do this part either on the kit. It'll be tapped already. This is too much work.
It's nice of you to think about everybody else.
Yeah, this is actually kind of hard process to get right if you don't have the right tools and the right touch. You could very easily just not know what you're doing and snap a tap off in there, and then, oh, that's a huge world of hurt.
Huge time waster and a money waster.
Yeah, that's the value you're getting with this kit.
Yeah.
Lots of pain and suffering that you don't have to go through. We'll probably do another one of these later, like full product install video that's done like accurately.
Right. Like basically video for the end user.
Yeah.
It's like a step-by-step guide.
Yeah.
I think that's a great idea.
Of course you do. You're the video guy. You gotta come back.
I just feel like it's a great idea.
Okay. I know. I'm just giving you a hard time. This is the best tap handle ever. And it's not even a tap handle. Dang. I love this thing. It's got tons of leverage, of flexibility. You know, it works on a square shank, ratchets. It's like the ultimate tap handle.
What is it, by the way?
It's just a flex. It's just a ratchet.
Like a little 1/4 inch.
Yeah, it's a
3/8.
11/32 ratchet wrench from Matco. I've never actually used these, I don't think, for a nut or a bolt. I always use them for taps. Man, look at that. That's gonna look nice. All right, now I'm gonna get some bolts with some anti-seize and bolt it up tight. So now we're just mocking up the spring tower for the initial test fit. We're bolting all the way through into the 1/2 inch thick inner cross member. I'm gonna slide these washers down from the top on the back side to represent shims that will be made in the future so that we can tighten this thing up and get a accurate mock-up. Got some anti-seize on the bolts just to make sure it all goes together smoothly. Holes line up good. All right, now I gotta go get a socket. Yeah, I can hear it pulling it together. All right. That is strong like bull. Okay, so one thing I noticed right away is that's only gonna travel so high, but it may not ever get that high anyways. We'll have to mock it up. All right, now we're gonna get the spring mocked up in there. First I gotta release the tension on this a little bit. Should just be hand tight. All right, so we've got that bushing should fit right in there perfectly. Look at that, perfect. It's got some slide front to back for right now. The end result will not have that slide. It will just be a hole. So this nut will go on top. All right, now it's kind of a loose unit right now, so we're gonna have to figure this out. Lift this, put that down. All right, let's see if we can get, okay, now hand me the shock. Ah. Thank you. Okay, but now I have to compress the spring or lower this, so.
Probably lowering the easiest.
Yeah, except it's all tied up.
You need wire cutters.
Yeah, be the fastest. Okay, now we can put this bolt in, and then we've got this bushing spacer for now. we're gonna machine some custom spacers for this. All right, and then I didn't have a spacer on the other side yet. Just get those threads started, and look at that. Look at that, perfect. Didn't hit anything. Look at how close that is though. I mean, well, if we adjust it out, it'll hit, but that's why we left that a slot right now. So if I push it all the way back, it's got about 1/8 of an inch of clearance for full articulation. That's why we left that a slot. If I had made that a hole in the middle, it would hit. So actually that was Darren's idea to make that a slot. So good team play there, Darren. Yeah, so slot, it's gonna have to go all the way back to the slot. And then that's fine because it still clears everything. Honestly, I could probably make the slot go back even just a little bit more and it'll be okay. But I mean, I like where it is right there. That's perfect. Can you see that real good?
Yeah, let me get from up here, like a normal angle.
Like look right up there. Sorry.
Oh yeah, we should get this spindle in there and see how that.
Yeah, we will. Yeah, let's put it in there. Look at that, that's nice. So that's full droop, pretty much. Yeah, that's full droop, so it'll never hit the spring even at full droop. It's hammer fab engineering at its finest right there. All right, and then we can hook this up. Let's test fit the sway bar while we got it here. This will end up getting a bushing also. And then That will go right about there-ish, and then we'll turn the wheels to the right.
Do you have to create a custom thing
Mount.
for your sway bar?
Custom mount. Yeah, I'm probably going to end up having to make the control arms, or buy them and modify them. Buy them and just weld that on there. So yeah, that should be good. And then the only other question is on the way up, it might potentially hit this, but I don't think it'll go up high enough. The only way we can check that right now is by taking the spring off, or setting the weight on the car. But we can't do that until we get the other side done too. So I'd kind of like to set the weight on the car, but we really need to fully weld this and everything before we do that. But at least we're checked the clearances now. It clears all the bolts, it clears everything. So we are good to go. We just need to check the compression of everything, make sure it doesn't hit up here, which I don't think it will. It'll hit the bump stop before it hits there. So we're gonna put a bump stop right down here, which I can show that too if you want. So a little sneak peek into Hammer Fab R&D. What we're gonna do is incorporate bump stops, upper and lower, on the control arms. So this one will end up going probably right there on that control arm and bump into the frame. And then there'll be one on the upper control arm, or on the upper part of the frame, so that the control arm crashes into it when you lift the car up. So we're trying to cover all the bases here, make this a really well engineered unit so that you're not damaging your parts and you can drive the heck out of this thing. All right, now we got the front wheel mocked up and the sway bars kind of mocked up. We've got the spring in there. We're gonna turn it lock to lock, well, all the way to the right. And I just wanna verify that the tire's gonna clear the sway bar. I haven't done that yet, so. How are we looking? That's all the way. Is it clear?
It's tight, but it's clear.
Woo! Look at that, that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. Cool. And even if I swung it up here, which is the second option, we got two options of where this can mount. And I'm trying to put it up here. So if I swing that up there, it'll still clear. Dang, this thing is like gonna be dialed. It doesn't get any closer than that. Wheel back space, sway bar fitment, full lock to lock turning. We got the best of all worlds here in a Mopar. And that's at full droop. So when it's compressed, it should get even better, because then the tire will be up here. It'll be up higher. So, well, if I move that up, it'll probably be about the same. But either way, it's gonna clear. That's good. That's real good. All right, that does it for the spring mock-up video. Next time, we'll have these bad boys fully installed. All we gotta do is fill up this slot a little bit, or edit this piece or whatever, so that it just has a circle in it. The final part will just have a hole. So we'll get that welded up, get that pocket fully welded in, do the same thing to the other side, and then we can put the weight on the car. Then we can finalize the sway bars, front and back, and then we're almost ready to blow this thing apart. I know I keep saying that, but it is quite a bit of work, and we're trying to figure this all out so that it's less work for you guys if and when you decide to get this kit for your Mopar. See you next time.